you're not going to ever have the moral high ground of talking about the dangers of how we harm children
Deflection.
when you guys kill so many of them. So there's one.
Deflection.
And then two, I have not. I didn't say
Deflection.
that no good women are mistreated. I said I haven't seen women being mistreated in mass. The majority of wifely women, the ones that are feminine, kind, non-combative, nurturing, the ones that are worth men's you know, chivalry, they get it. And then those of y'all that don't. And it's just, I think that it becomes off nonsense to you because you only identify with the latter part of the conversation, and that's not my fault.
So essentially, what he just said is if you are a woman who performs, if you're a woman who does all the things that men deem to be appropriate, desirable, then you don't get treated a certain way. And that goes back to exactly what the point of the prompt is. Um, how important are women to society? The question isn't how important are women who perform the way you perform. I mean, the way you desire. How important are women who appeal to your sensibilities, who appease your ego? It is women in general. And because there's so many women on this planet, like 4 billion, one would think that when we're talking about women, we're speaking about the masses, not just the ones who perform. So I think exactly what you just said. You said, if they do this, then I don't see them being mistreated. If they act this way, then I don't see them being. That does not kind of encompass the idea of all women. It encompasses just the specific set few who perform the way you want them to perform.
May
I think
I?
that's what he heard, and that's fair. So let me try to do a better job because I believe I started my commentary by saying that if you feed women with the things that are positive, you will typically get somewhat of an outcome that is, progressive. That's how it started. My commentary about the fact of performing, yes, I'm speaking more so to the exchange that Bo and Illa was having, that women in mass, in my opinion, are just not mistreated. They are extremely valuable. We know that, just like Illa stated, and I think myself and other men have stated, our society, in a sense, wouldn't exist without you guys' contribution. We know that. But I think that there is a brokenness that is existent now. I would almost say it's a spirit of sorts that the women of today have to overly commercialize, that they're not given reverence. I don't even hear men say that they need reverence. I think I hear men say they need respect and support. But there's something that is in the female psyche and emotional realm that still needs a prompting of sorts. And it's kind of sad, especially women in this country. Now, if we were somewhere off where you have to walk miles or you was really fighting for your life, I could probably understand that. But American women, in my opinion, can't say that in mass, not with the infrastructure that you have, not with the abilities that you have. It doesn't even really make sense to me. And I'll land.
What I got from what you said, my understanding of it was if you act with basic humanity of respect and selflessness, consideration, and be kind, and if you were to just pretty much treat people how you want to be treated with not so high expectations like the other person has to be perfect and I don't, and act like accountability exists and that there's repercussions for your actions, for how you treat people or what you do to somebody, or if you choose not to listen or talk over them or make them feel less than, that there is consequences to being treated like that and people won't stand for that. I felt like he was just simply saying if men have to conduct themselves a certain way to receive certain things in life, women have to have that same accountability too, and not to say that they are a victim because they're putting out something and receiving the repercussions of their actions. That's what I got from what he said.
I think women are very important to its overall. Do I think women birth society? No, I think women birth people and men who tend to then go build society for women to live and thrive in. I don't think that women are equally as important as men are in the building of a society. I think they're more important in the sustainment of that society, though. I think that women don't build anything substantial. I don't think that men nurture anything substantial. So where we're weak is where they tend to be stronger at. However, we have to be strong first before then we allow them to be weak. So So I have no issue with that. You know, women add so much value to so many things. You know, you can give a woman a house, you know, she'll make it a home, all of those things. So I have no issue with that. And for the second part, women are treated accordingly. If men are treating you or dogging you, it's because you give them the energy. Men in mass aren't mistreating women just because. We handle women accordingly. And if you're a woman we have to handle, we treat you as such. I have no issue with that. I think that it should continue, and I think that it should actually be worse. I think that if you give men the energy that causes them to treat you a way you don't like to be treated, I think you deserve it, and I don't feel bad for you. The same thing goes for men. I think a lot of times men get given passes for being the same things we say women shouldn't be, you know, masculine, disrespectful, argumentative, and all that stuff. And we have to understand at the end of the day, you know, the energy that we have needs to be the same energy we'd have in person. The same conversation Illa and I would have online needs to mirror what we would have in person, because we understand that there is a force multiplier that can be added to that conversation if it goes left. And again, I don't feel bad that women's force multiplier a lot of times is being handled aggressively when they behave aggressively. When they behave poorly, men choose to treat them badly. I've never in life seen a good woman, a wifely woman, have any of these talking points about being disrespected by men or having issues like this, because good women aren't treated that way. Good women aren't treated the way that these what do we say, hyenas are treated, and they shouldn't be. You know, good women treated like domesticated women. You can't treat the wild women like you would those, because you get two different outcomes.
You know, I think it's interesting that on one side of the token, men will say nonsense like that. And on the other side of the token, they'll tot around that 70% of divorces are filed by women. I don't think those 70% of women who leave those relationships for different reasons are just leaving because, they can't, they got to come up and they're just trying to dip out. No, oftentimes those women are being mistreated. Some of them, yes, they may or may not be the best woman on the planet, but others, I am pretty sure they were good women who were mistreated. The idea that only bad women get mistreated would quite literally ignore how much harm we do to kids, how much harm we do to the disabled, how much harm we do to the elderly, how much harm we do to the members of our society who cannot protect themselves and who are innocent. And we harm innocent people as a society all the time. So to think that like that just completely skips over just women and that there are good women out there who get harmed by men is ridiculous. A lot of the stuff you said at the beginning, Will, was true, but like to end it, I don't understand you sometimes. Like you'll say some things that make sense. You'll just wrap it up in like a crap sandwich. Like you'll just wrap it up in a whole bunch of nothing. Because to say all of that and then say, I don't know, not one good woman out there, a wifely woman, not one, who was mistreated by a man. Seriously. Not one?
Well, there's two places where your argument fails. One, again, as you being a non-American black woman that's caping for black women, you're not going to ever have the moral high ground of talking about the dangers of how we harm children when you guys kill so many of them. So there's one. And then two, I didn't say that no good women are mistreated. I said I haven't seen women being mistreated in mass. The majority of wifely women, the ones that are feminine, kind, non-combative, nurturing, the ones that are worth men's chivalry, they get it. And then those of y'all that don't. And it's just, I think that it becomes off nonsense to you because you only identify with the latter part of the conversation, and that's not my fault.
That was pure deflection. I'm sorry, Pro, and it's gonna be a second because that was pure deflection, and that was quite embarrassing. You literally said, as a non-Black American woman who's trying to keep for Black American women, you're gonna speak about harm because of AB. How does AB manage to enter every conversation? Like, I was actually being very direct to what you specifically said, and you deflected again, as usual. Go ahead, Pro. Jesus hell.
Of course, I think women are important to society, Mother Earth, Mother Nature. Just saying. Willie, I think when you say like we're not as valuable or as important in terms of society, I think you mean infrastructure. We know we don't build and contribute to the foundation of the structure.
I made that clarification too when I said it.
You did? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought I didn't hear that part. But that's what I was going to say. We're not as valuable in terms of infrastructure, but in terms of like a structured group, cultures and social institutions, norms, relationships, collective behavior, of course, we're important. In terms of the video, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, it's funny because I was on here with Picking and Choosing and Will, and he asked what value could a woman bring to a relationship, and I had literally mentioned wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and we kind of like had a debate about that. So it's just funny that Farrakhan had mentioned that. The point that I want to make to that is, even if that was true, we have to have men to have an understanding that women bring that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And then we as women have to hold ourselves accountable and see if we're even bringing that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So I think it's just subjective. It should be concrete and it should be mandatory for everybody. And maybe that's why we're having this discussion, because everybody doesn't align with these values. But I definitely feel like we bring wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. It's just a matter of who the person is and how much they're developed